Um, but yeah, welcome to Jam Sessions. Dealing with some random technical audio difficulties, but
Always.
welcome, Brian.
Yeah, thanks for the
Last
invite.
time we talked, it was like January,
Okay. Yeah, that's about right.
and I think we were both kind of like figuring out, like what our initiatives were for 2025 and what we were planning on launching and stuff. And obviously,
Yeah.
you were working on the instrumental components back then, and I think you were also working on block editor and thinking about
Yeah.
community and a bunch of other stuff. Um,
Let's
and
let's see how many of those things I actually did and how many things I abandoned.
well, you know what? I feel like you got to dig into some of that stuff. Um, you
Yeah, I'm
know,
curious about your
to
stuff too. So
your curiosity. Yeah,
I see you talking about starter packs. I'm curious to hear how
yeah.
that's going. I'm also wondering about how these are going, like the live streams. Are you getting like audience and
Well,
traction with this?
I haven't done many jam sessions. Actually, you were the last episode, so I haven't
Oh,
done
really?
another jam session since
But you
January.
but you post like your own
I've been
stuff.
doing some like solo jams.
Hmm.
I've been lately, like the last 3 weeks or so, I've been sharing like the development of a new product that I've been working on.
Hmm.
So essentially, I've been working on skylounge.social. And
Social.
actually, you know what? I'm gonna change this audio. I think I know what's gonna. All right.
You want me to give you like a live teardown? Because this isn't going to be the first time that I actually look at it.
Oh, well, it's just a landing page right now.
All right. So don't even tell me what it is. All I know
Sure.
is it's skylaunch.social.
Sky Lounge.
Sky Lounge. Okay.
Yeah.
I was just going to say your site's down, but that's the wrong site. Loading.
And
A
hopefully, it's
space
not
to
down.
converse and connect. X Twitter Spaces alternative. Oh, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. Did Blue Sky just launch their live thing?
So they didn't launch live. Oh man, that's even worse. Or do you have
Yeah, it just got echoey.
yeah, what's going on with that? Um, I guess I'm gonna go back to this. Um, so they did launch live status, but the thing with the status is you can basically have a live status on a profile, but the source can be YouTube, Twitch. They did it with the NBA, so probably any sort of like live TV
Hmm.
streaming
What
thing.
I don't even know. I only saw their announcement. I don't even know like what it is. So what is live status? Is it like a live stream?
It's a it's really just a live indicator around your profile. And when you click on that live thing, it will give you a link to where you can then go watch whatever's live.
Oh, and that could be elsewhere. That could be like
It
YouTube
could
or
be
something.
elsewhere.
Oh, so
Yeah,
it's just like a live indicator and a link out.
correct.
Oh, super simple. Okay.
Yeah, which is actually really cool because it
Yeah, I like
doesn't
that. They're
lock in
not locking
anything.
you. Yeah, they're not locking you into Blue Sky. So you
Exactly.
are building some sort of like actual live streaming service inside of Blue Sky?
Well, it's actually off of Blue Sky, but the idea is that it will use your Blue Sky authentication. It's basically Twitter Spaces, so like
Hmm.
audio discussions, and
Okay.
then anytime a session goes live, obviously it would post out to Blue Sky, and people could join, and then um, just creates a space where you can have these discussions. So I'm starting with just like ephemeral uh, chat rooms where people can kind of get in, and then eventually I'll add like the fact that you can record it and then archive it and have it on the site.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
nice.
And
It's
I think there's some
interesting. I
tie-ins with starter packs. So like essentially I was thinking you could actually have like a starter pack associated with the room or session, and any guests and speakers that are in there, they get added to a starter pack.
mm,
So I think that I'm going to try to figure out some sort of like integrations across. the other one and have one drive traffic to the other and vice versa.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Where are you at, like in terms of those like starter packs, or anything else? Like, do you have like customers or revenue, or like how is this working as a startup or a business for you at this point?
So yeah, starter packs is really not working as far as a business. I think what it does drive is eyeballs.
Yeah, because
So
you got like a
it's
ton of
getting,
traffic on it, right?
I was getting a ton and I'm trying to build it back up to more. But it still gets pretty good amount of traffic. And there
Hmm.
are people connecting and checking out their sites, and the starter packs that they appear in. Um, so
Nice.
it's getting some traffic, but I think it's going to be more like a lead gen that I could try to push other stuff to.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe if the traffic gets up a little higher, sponsors slash
Hmm.
like kind of promoted profiles or content
Yeah.
could end up making it a little interesting.
Yeah, so I would want to I I'm curious to know, like, so you have a bunch of traffic, it's sort of gone up and down, but um is that, who are these people? Are they just general Blue Sky users, which is pretty broad, or is it like businesses trying to use Blue Sky, or is it like social media agencies
Yeah, that's a
working
good
with
question.
clients? You
I don't
know?
know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of, I think even back in January we were talking, I knew that um, January through at least March or April was going to be kind of heavy with me for client stuff, and it
Mhm.
totally was. And now it's kind of freeing up a little bit, and but I'm realizing that there isn't enough traction to just try to monetize starter packs alone. So that's why I've also been thinking about this, the serendipity of Twitter Spaces and how having these conversations and then being able to follow people who are not only speaking but a guest in the room
Mhm.
and kind of having that finding like minds and kind of like feeding off that. Um, I don't know. So I'm trying to figure out the thread.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's really ambitious to go for like a social networking type of product as a business, you know? Like I like
Yeah,
the idea of like community and content and audience building and stuff like that, but I think it's really hard to make that work as a business, as a bootstrapper.
no, I totally agree. And actually,
And I think I made that mistake last year when I got into doing Ripple. I think that's why I
yeah,
sort of like, it's still a thing, but I think I'm either going to shut it down or convert it into some other something at some point. But like, it's not like I stopped thinking or working on that because it's just like it went down the road of like there should be a social networking play around podcasts. I still believe this. I still think that podcast audiences should be better networked than they are.
yeah,
But there's no real business there unless I were like a big podcasting company, and I'm not. So,
yeah. I definitely agree. Um, let me see here. I'm just gonna. Can you still hear me now?
mhm.
Okay. This might clear up the echo. I'm not 100% sure. Um, we're just getting some reports of echo. But yeah. So actually, so with Skylines, I'm time boxing it. So I'm going to launch it May 30th, and I'm not actually expecting even trying to monetize it. It's more of a shake the cobwebs off, get out of like client thing, kind of like explore a
Yeah, I know that
basically
feeling for sure.
just explore a curiosity and then just put it out and just see if it takes traction, but then move back to something that actually is something that is like monetizable. So essentially, I'd probably end up doing like open graphs, which is like
Hmm.
the open graph image slash like open graph tag management thing
Oh yeah.
that I was
Yeah,
talking
that's a
about a
good
while
one.
ago.
That's a good like small product idea. I saw who was doing that? Peter Soom was playing around with that a few months ago.
Yeah.
Um that's a nice one because and like that to me is like a very bootstrapper friendly type of product or problem because it's so small and it is painful to like update and set up your open graph images for your website and stuff like that.
And it's also like
Um,
kind of annoying to update,
yeah,
like do like a mass update or like a
yep,
mass purge or like overwrite one. Like you might have a template going, but then if you want to have like one specific one,
yeah, for sure.
to be able to swap that out.
Yep. I always have like one default that goes on the home page and any other page and then I have like the ability to like overwrite it on specific pages if I want to, which I never
Hmm.
do.
Yeah.
um but then yeah, and then like the whole process of like testing it to make sure it's actually showing up on each network is a pain. Um and like I don't even know how you wave a magic wand and like clear Twitter's cache of that stuff and like um you know, like that whole space is painful and important because you know, like when you want to like promote a link or run campaigns or stuff like that, like you want the images to
You want it to
show
look
up.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the worst is that like broken image when you tweet something, you know? Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so yeah, I think that's the next move. And the fact that I have these sites that I can apply it to. So essentially like, you know, custom dynamic open graph images for every blue sky profile and starter pack that's on starterpacks.net,
Mm.
as well as all the rooms and sessions that'll be on Sky Lounge. Um, so I'll have some like good case studies. And actually like starter packs is getting kind of like crazy uh like bot traffic crawled right now
Hmm.
on a Tuesday because I had like a $535 hosting bill last month from
Damn.
Vercel because of all the traffic to the site.
Oh wow.
Um, so I ended up doing like incremental static regeneration, which is like basically a way within Vercel, and I think Remix and some other frameworks do it. But essentially, the first time you request the page, it caches it and just serves that indefinitely until you revalidate it.
Mm. Yep.
And then every other subsequent page or request for that just serves that cache image or cache to the page. Um, so hopefully that'll reduce the all the function calls of making those requests to generate those pages because it really added up.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I wouldn't that seems crazy to have such a high bill just for a high like I know you have high traffic, but it's not like crazy high, right? Like it's because like you're hitting like the API so much.
Well, the so yeah, it actually seems like it's mostly bot and crawler traffic
Mm,
that is actually generating all this stuff. So on Tuesday, I released that ISR update, and since then, it's generated like 4.2 million pages,
damn.
which is actually, I mean, I last month I specifically made updates to make it to where the site was really easy to crawl. So I had a lot of like infinite scrolling and dynamic loading and all that kind of stuff, and I made it to where all those were like crawlable,
Hmm.
essentially links at the bottom of those infinite scrolls.
Hmm.
And that worked, but a little too well.
Yeah, that's crazy. The site's looking good.
Thanks. Yeah, I actually did launch prices and subscriptions and stuff, but not really getting many bites on those.
$7 a month or 100 a month. Yeah, so like I would want to think about like who is this really for,
Yeah.
you know? And I feel like to me, I'm just this is just a guess, but like I think selling to
I think
agencies,
businesses
well,
and
like
like,
not just businesses, but like social media management agencies
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
who need to prove their value to their clients by showing, look at this activity or this engagement or or this stuff that we're generating for you on Blue Sky, and they could be using your tool to get those insights and produce those reports and show it to their clients. Like I feel like they would pay, like that's something that they are getting paid for, so they would pay for tools for that. That would be my first guess at a product business like this, you know.
Yeah, I would agree.
But I have no idea.
No, I totally agree. I think the I think the one thing that basically starter packs has right now that's a moat from other things is the fact that we have like 270,000 starter packs. There's some other sites like Witch Pack um, that give you a list of all the packs that you're in, but they only have like 60,000
Hmm.
packs indexed. So
Interesting. So then like the other play here could be like still I still think along the same lines of like sell to agencies, but like you could be like the Ahrefs of the blue sky space.
yeah, which I think is almost a totally different surface. I think starter packs is its own thing, and then you make like the um, what was some like the Twitter ones, like the Twitter analytics tools.
Yeah, right. There's like Tweet Deck, right? And like and the I forgot. Oh, like a Hootsuite and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um
and I mean, there's like Buffer that
yeah.
you could do like scheduled tweets on, but I don't know if they really give you much analytics on it back.
Yeah. But
Maybe
like
they
that's why I
used to
say
back
like
in the
something
day.
like Ahrefs, like I feel like a big part of their value, aside from all the tooling that they have, really they've like crawled the internet and they have all this data on like all these long tail keywords, right? Like that's how
Totally.
you're able to run those big keyword reports, is because they have this massive data set. And I feel like you're building that data set for Blue Sky. So if you can make that like reportable for the purpose of like marketing on Blue Sky, which like that. I'm just thinking about like cases where people would pay for social media related tools. It tends to be like agencies,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, totally. I mean, they could probably do interesting queries where it's like, how, which starter packs is this person in? Who are the people who created those starter packs? Who are the other people in those starter packs to try to then figure out demographics and groups of people that they could target and who,
Mhm.
like how to get into those packs potentially if they want to reach those people. Um,
Yeah, because I also think about like even just individuals, like just the fact that they want to know things about themselves or their audience on Blue Sky. Like if you're like a quote unquote influencer and you want to see like how much your how well your audience engagement is performing and stuff, like I don't know, I don't even know if that's even worth paying for. They just might individuals might just be interested in that, but they're not interested enough to
yeah,
pay
I totally agree.
a SaaS for that, you know.
Yeah,
Even if they're like a large influencer with a large audience, like if that info is not valuable to them, then they wouldn't pay for it. But again, like a business who's trying to either market their brand or an agency who's trying to market their clients' brands, there's actually like client relationships involved there that like unlock the revenue. That would be my one path that I would look at for something like that.
yeah,
Still think it's hard though. I
yeah.
also think that selling to
It's hard.
agencies is hard, because like they can be very fickle, and like they depend on their clients' business. So like once their big client cancels their contract, then they're just going to go cancel whatever services they use.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
or they might be really interested in it, and then they're like, okay, I'll come back when I someday get a client. I've seen that play out, way too often.
Yeah, that's kind of why I'm not really putting too much into starter packs right now, just
Hmm.
because I think it's a thing. It serves a purpose. I added the like a quick pack editor to the site, so it makes it a lot easier to create starter packs. And it's also a lot easier to add people to existing starter packs. So I
Hmm.
kind of created a little bit of free utility. And you have to obviously connect your Blue Sky account to enable to use that. So I think I'm just going to leave it as long as it's not costing me a crazy amount of money. And then if I can keep traffic coming to it, again, just using it as a way to push people to other products that might have uh, a revenue model behind them.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. I mean, obviously, with everything that you push out there and try to maintain, it's a little bit of cognitive load on
Yes.
on how you
Um,
can then move forward on future stuff.
yeah. I mean, I have a lot of projects like that where for me, I just lose interest in it very quickly if there's no business case. And I have stuff even now that's just like, why am I still running that again? um, but like yeah, like I don't like to create projects and ongoing tasks and maintenance work for myself unless it's worth it. And then
Justifying yourself. Yeah.
even then if it's a business that has some activity, like has customers and stuff, but it's not my primary focus, then I at least want to get it to a place where I can hire someone to manage it. Like right now I'd say I have three focuses. Um, there's Clarity Flow, my SaaS. There's my consulting, which is currently one project at a time,
Hmm.
um, and which is like building MVPs for clients. And then instrumental components, which I just launched. Right now, my personal focus is instrumental components. Um, I'm solo working on that. I do everything, built the product, the marketing, like doing the sales, doing the all of it. So Clarity Flow, I have a full-time developer working on that, and I just dip in like one day a week to like oversee the roadmap and make sure that my developer has like a queue of issues to be working on and like stuff is sort of taken care of there. Lately, I have been doing a little bit more support on that because I did lose my support person on that recently.
Mm.
Um, so that could be a little bit distracting. And then the other one is the consulting, which I'm in touch with the client, but I do have a developer working on that. So like again, it's a similar thing where it's like one day a week. I'll sort of like make sure that my developer has stuff to do, and I'll review his work, and I'll pop in and do a little bit of like UI work on the code base, and then I'll send the client an update. But like everything is async, um, and it really doesn't take much time at all. And so like that, those two things, Clarity Flow and the consulting, sort of like pay
For
the
you up.
bills and keep like some just steady thing, like keeping things like steady and afloat. And then like I'm spending 80% plus of my week and my time and my focus on building the next product. And right now that's instrumental components. I mean, and like my mind space, I'm starting to think about like what's the next thing after instrumental components. I have some
Totally. Yeah.
ideas, but like because now instrumental components is not fully launched, but it's like it has its first customers, and now I'm like it's transitioning into being like an active product in the market, which is more of like a maintenance sort of thing. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
and
how are you feeling about it? I mean, that's kind of why we're on this stream is to dig into instrumental components and explain
yeah,
like what it is and what
I
people
feel good
get.
about
And
it. I mean, within the past one week, it now has revenue, so like that makes me feel better about it, and it like sort of justifies my time going forward on it. I think it's not like it necessarily like pays for my time. Like
Yeah.
it's not a ton, but it's not zero. So it's and I've already put in so much time already, like pre-revenue. Um,
How many people did you have on the launch list?
it's about 800.
Oh, nice.
Um, and I've only sent invites to like 60 or 70 people so far. Um,
Cool.
I think as of today, it has like 14 or 15 first first paying customers. And so like every couple of days, probably like my next batch will be Monday. I'll send like another batch of like 50 invites. And then I think like pretty soon and just in the next couple of weeks, I'll start to like just open it up to a few hundred more. And then I'm probably within a month, just because I'm impatient, like I'll just open it up to the public for anyone
Mhm.
to buy. It's like I don't it is a product in the Ruby on Rails space. So like I don't have really like high hopes for like this being a huge rocket ship type product. I think it's always going to be a very niche within a niche type product. And I think that the people who use it will, I hope will love using it, and maybe they'll talk about it. Um, and it's a tool that I use on stuff. But it's sort of just like one thing. And then I'm just gonna kind of, and I'm also gonna like use it to make building apps much
Build the
faster.
next one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of the content that I'll do going forward is like showing how to build apps really quickly using both Rails and using AI. And this can be a tool in doing that, and like building apps for the sake of like material to show on the YouTube channel, and maybe get into like some training stuff. That's sort of what I'm thinking.
Cool. Yeah. I mean, you're kind of straddling two different worlds, right? It's like you have a little bit starter kit with some baked in stuff for what, like auth subscriptions, um,
Yeah,
some, you know,
when I
some of that
started
general stuff
building
you need for
it,
like a SaaS.
when I started building it, I was sort of like promoting it like it's a UI components product. And then as I got into it, it morphed much more into like the starter kit realm. So now it's sort of both. It's like a
Yeah.
UI components and starter kit. It functions more like a components product because it you can install it as a gem into a Rails project, and so then you can just install individual components. Like you don't have to. Whereas like with a starter kit, it's typically like one GitHub
Template.
repo that's like one template for one whole app, and you can
Yeah.
only use it if you like start a fresh app on their template, right? I do have a private GitHub repo that customers get access to if they want to build a fresh app using that route, like a typical starter kit. But the
Mhm.
recommended route is just install the gem, and then yeah, you can install our authentication component, our commerce component, which is like a Stripe integration, and more than just a Stripe integration. It's like a whole SaaS checkout. Like you get pricing pages, a checkout flow, even like dunning emails and like customer portals and all this different stuff. Um, and then there's a Teams component, so it sets up your accounts and user models and team member invitations. Um, there's an admin dashboard component, so it gives you like as like the super admin like a back end dashboard. Um, and then all those are like the big app components, but then those kind of pull in um, all of our little UI components. So like all those features are made up of buttons and drop down menus and layouts and all the things, all the little UI stuff. Like those are all individual components that come bundled into it.
Baked in. Yeah, it's really cool. That's what I was gonna say. It's like starter kit, UI component library,
Hmm.
kind of mashed up into one. Because it's
Yeah.
kind of nice that you can actually use those components for consistency, but
Yeah.
then still have them already like pre-compose into the pricing page and the checkout pages, and then be
Yeah.
able to probably tweak those as well.
Yeah. And like the other thing that I think makes it a little bit different from a lot of like the UI component libraries out there is that like especially in the Rails space, there's this tendency to like create these component libraries where they just invent their own component like templating system and or like
Yeah.
syntax
As
that's
opposed
like
to just like wrapping everything in Tailwind and then
yeah
going from there.
yeah like I just some of the stuff that's out there is like kind of cool and interesting, but I just don't agree with the approach of like inventing a whole new templating system and language. Uh, and especially now that everyone is building with AI and Cursor and Windsurf or whatever, like the more conventional your code base can be, the better it
Yeah.
is, right? So like with instrumental, like when you install a component, you are just installing Rails code, ERB partials, ERB views, Tailwind, Stimulus JS, like just conventional code
Like vanilla
right into your
Ruby.
project. And it's not like it's not wrapped um behind these like components that like you can't even edit. Like you just get the source components installed right into your project and you can just edit them. But like that is code that like you already know how to work with if you're a Rails developer, and your LLM knows that code as well. Like it reads it just like any other Rails project, you know.
Yeah. No, that's great. Yeah. I mean, I think this, so you're seeing it's being well received, like by the
I
people who
think
are on the
so.
list.
Yeah, like the first customers, you know, it was good to send it out to a first few who immediately sent me back like a few bugs and things. So I'm getting those fixed, and yeah, like like one guy was like, yeah, I just built 3 new apps with it, you know. Um, the other thing that I'm still like experimenting with the pricing and everything, but like I'm offering you can use it on unlimited projects,
Oh, cool.
whereas the other ones tend to charge per project. It's a little bit
Yeah, you're
higher
going to
priced.
annual subscription, right?
Yeah, yeah. It's right now as it's launching, it's like the official price is 499 a year for a solo developer, but early access people are getting it for 299 for the first year, and then there's a team license. So I built like a whole licensing system that sort of registers you and your device, and then if you have like team members, it'll register them, and so you can um, it'll like validate whether you're on a team license or a solo license. Um, but
Are
the
you going to
idea is
weave
that
that into instrumental components?
the licensing system, I don't know. Like I don't know if there's like a larger use case for that. Like I built that piece of it custom just for my use,
Yeah.
but the checkout, like the way that you purchase instrumental components uses our commerce component. You
Yeah.
know?
Keep it
Um,
meta.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, like building that whole licensing thing was a way more complex than I thought it would be. that
Yeah.
that
Do you
took me
have
a
to do like
while.
a private gem repository in order for
I
to
started down
get
that
access to
road.
that?
So it is a private gem, but I started down the road of like being a private gem server. Um, and this is where like my limitations as like a back end DevOps kind of person come into play. Like I started trying to get that working, and it ran into all sorts of issues. So now the way that it works is I released a public gem on rubygems.org called instrumental components, and that's just our installer gem. So you get that,
Okay.
you put that in your project for free, and then that has a command to like install the actual gem, and that
But you
pings
have
our
to
server.
authenticate or
Yeah,
something.
that'll like authenticate, or that will like validate your license key and download the latest version of our actual gem from our server, installs it on your system, installs it in your project, um, and then you're off to the races. You know,
Cool. I mean, that actually might even be a little bit better
I
because
think
then you
so.
kind of end up in the Ruby Gems world. People
Yeah,
discover it, and then they
that's the
could
other
click
thing.
over and get the license.
Yeah, then it was also like a matter of like reserving the name. And so like somebody already has a gem called instrumental, And
Mhm.
it's like this gem that literally hasn't been updated in 13 years, but they own
No readme.
rubygems.org/instrumental. It's like some super obscure thing like downloaded by like 100 people or something like 13 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not even going through the hassle of trying to like contact them or
Yeah.
um,
Obtain it.
yeah. So anyway, like mine, so I was able to sort of reserve and get the name like instrumental components on Ruby Gem. So like that is our installer gem, and then when you do that, it'll install our actual gem, which ends up being called Instrumental Components Library. Yeah,
Cool.
yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that stuff gets wild. But that no, that's really cool. The How did you go about figuring out pricing?
Um, Picked a number.
Yeah.
I knew pretty early on that I did not want to do a free thing. So, a lot of these things have either are just totally free or they offer like a free version. That could be a play at some point, but I'm just not interested in doing freemium anymore. Like if I'm putting this much effort into a product, and I'm making it as valuable to myself as I want, like for my own use case, like I want to charge for it. I understand lower, that's going to put up a barrier to entry and like it'll, it'll just be a lower volume of customers and users. And that's fine. I think right now I'm just more interested in having like a really high quality product that I could put a lot of time and like love into. And for that to work, I need to charge for it. So, I don't even know if 4.99 a year is going to be the final price. That's what I'm starting at. It is a subscription. I know like some others do like a price for life. I'm not really into that idea either. I am sort of
Yeah.
open to like adjusting it so that like you pay the fee for the first year and then maybe you have a discounted renewal. Um, uh, but yeah, like the subscription gives you access to all the latest components and updates that I'll push out, um, access to support, access to a customer's chat or community, which I still haven't launched yet. I plan to set something up in the next week or two as like a customer chat space. Yeah.
Yeah. Are you gonna have like a Discord or something?
All right. So I'm curious to hear your take on this. Like, should I use? Yeah, I want to have a chat space for customers to connect with each other, to connect with me. It won't be like the official place to ask support questions. For that, I'll probably use GitHub issues or something. Right now, it's just they're sending me emails. But I do want to just have a chat space where people can like share their projects and get feedback and be a little mini community of users, right? So I guess Discord is the thing that a lot of these types of products use. I just personally hate Discord.
Yeah.
Um, and okay, so but I might just use it because that's what's most familiar in this space. And maybe I'll just sort of get over it and learn to love it. But I just can't stand the UI in Discord. And then there's Slack, which that's the one that I am a member of several Slacks, and I've come to like be fine with Slack as a UI and a product to use. I actually like how Slack handles threading now.
Yeah.
You could have these like threaded discussions. The thing, of course, with Slack is that like I'm not going to do the paid version of it. I can't pay per user for a community. And if I don't pay, then
You lose your
um,
messages after so
yeah, we'll
many
lose
and
history. I forgot what it is, like 90 days of history or something. So it would be nice to be able to like save threads that people can search and bring up far in the future, if something has already been discussed. Um, and so then the thought was like, all right, well maybe I'll use Slack and have some sort of like bot that can consume these threads and then save them to a Rails
quickly
app
them.
somewhere. um, so that's a thought. I don't know. And then I guess the other thought is maybe using Campfire,
Okay.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
from 37 Signals. I'm a fan of them, and I'm a fan of their new once model, and I'm I've been in one or two of these campfire chats from other communities, and they're okay. I do have some issues with the UI. I don't think they even do threading, if I recall.
Oh wow.
Um, I might be wrong about that now, but so the nice thing is that like that's installed on my own server and it's Rails based, and so I might do something like that. It's sort of between those three, like Discord, Slack, or Campfire. I don't know which one I'm going to go with. I might just go with Discord and see if I can learn to like it. I don't know.
Yeah, I totally feel for you on that, like that struggle between the different approaches. I mean, the one thing you want to have is a community within an app or an environment that people are actually in on like a regular basis.
That's the
Because I
thing.
feel like the campfire thing, you're gonna forget about it, or you're gonna have to
Exactly.
go remember like whatever weird URL it is, and you're not gonna get
Exactly. Yeah.
notifications and stuff. Um, so
I feel
then
like that used to be Slack. Like it used to be that like everyone's in a Slack, so just launch a Slack. And I feel
yeah,
like now that that has shifted to be Discord, if I'm not.
I would say in the developer product community, it's definitely shifted to Discord. Yeah,
Mhm. Yeah, I think I might have to learn to love it.
yeah, I know. I mean, I agree. I think stuff gets lost in there a lot, but stuff gets lost in Slack too. Um,
Yeah.
the threading
I
is
feel
not
like I've
great.
just like it did take me a while, but I've learned to actually like the way that Slack handles threads.
Yeah.
And if I'm the last time I was in Discord, I remember like just 2 weeks ago, somebody mentioned me in some other Discord. I was like, where is it? It like took me 20 minutes, and I'm a product UI person to even find the place where I know
Where
I'm
the
being
reference
mentioned. I can
was.
see
Yeah.
the notification, but I can't find the actual view of the message. Like it was ridiculous, you know.
Yeah. 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 There's no perfect spot right now. Maybe you need to build that one next.
Ugh, yeah, no.
No. Um, so how have you been? I mean, obviously you have the 800 people on the list. How are you looking at trying to like promote and get distribution on instrumental components right now? I
Well,
mean,
so
you've also been doing a
far,
lot of YouTube, right?
yeah, actually, a lot of that list came from YouTube, which is pretty exciting to me because, like, before this, um, I didn't really have a good distribution channel for anything I've done before this. It was always just like people either follow my podcast or just have been following me for years and maybe some word of mouth. And occasionally I would have like an SEO play that sort of works, but like um, nothing that's like nothing that can like predictably bring total strangers into my product. YouTube seems to be the first thing that has actually worked for that. Um, so this year I've been publishing a lot of YouTube content. Almost all of it is showing off instrumental components or showing my progress on building it, and 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 then that sends people over to like those videos. I'll send people to instrumental.dev where I have an email opt-in, which leads into a survey. And on the back end, like there's a pretty long survey, like a lot of questions. And not all of the 800 have like filled that out. Probably less than half of them actually filled it out, but like a lot of those
Mhm.
like do write a lot of detail. Um, uh, and it's just really interesting to me to see people actually write like multi-paragraph answers into a survey, and they just discovered it through my YouTube videos, and they've never followed my podcast, don't follow me on Twitter or Blue Sky, they don't know me or my history or anything. Um, just the YouTube algorithm like served them this video, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like that is a really interesting, exciting thing to me. Um,
How many subscribers did you have pre doing these videos? Do you have a couple thousand?
I think today I have about 3,000.
Okay.
And last year, like I okay, so like I've had my YouTube channel for like over 10 years, but most of that I was not posting anything.
Yeah.
And then only last year, about a year ago, I started posting more. And then really in the last 6 months, I started posting like every single week. And I think just in the last 6 months, it went from like low 2000 something up to 3000. Still not huge. Like that's still basically nothing in the world of YouTube. But I'm adding about like 150, 200 subscribers a month right now. Um, every video I do probably gets between like 200 and 500 views in the first month,
Yeah.
um, which is really not much at all. But some of these videos, especially the ones that are very Rails based, the algorithm is serving them directly to Rails developers
That's
who,
great.
who are sort of like hungry for UI components, and like that leads them straight to my product. So like that's it is a I think YouTube is perfect um for getting exposure, especially if you are a niche offering. Um it's really hard. And I still don't think I'm very good at like doing YouTube. And I'm constantly like I'm putting a lot of work and effort into how I create on YouTube, how I go about planning content, the editing approach, the the thumbnail, and the like every time I do a video, I'm trying to improve on one or two or three
Demise it.
little aspects of it, you know.
Yeah. Are you, as far as like the approaching Rails, are you kind of like loading up the description of a video with a lot of SEO-ish Rails terms
From
and
what I
trying to
under
really flesh that out?
There's a little bit of that, but like, and there's like some tags on YouTube, but like from what I understand, that stuff doesn't really matter anymore on YouTube. I think that YouTube's
Just the title
algorithm,
and thumbnail.
yeah, title and thumbnail is very, very important. And that's not even algorithm based. That's just just it for like, I guess step one is make sure that you are creating content, creating a video on a specific topic that answers a question or solves a problem. Um, and like based on the content, that's what YouTube's algorithm will use to make sure that you get shown to the right people. So that's like step number one. And then step number two, like once you are in the feeds of the right people, it's your thumbnail and the title that will convince them to actually click it, you know?
Oh,
And
so you think it's actually more like the transcript of the video that they're kind of
yeah,
then using to serve up to people.
probably. Yeah. Like, and there might be a little bit of like keyword stuff in there, but I think it's even smarter than that. I think YouTube knows what is this content about, and what's the tone, and what's even like the personality of this person on the video, and what kind of user profiles is that going to vibe with, and so when that
Hmm.
person in South Korea is on their YouTube home screen, the videos that surface from their algorithm, whatever range of factors they think that like my video is going to they're going to find interesting, you know. um
Yeah.
and then it's a game of thumbnail has to be compelling enough for them to click. Then they click it, and then it's like you have to sort of hook them in the first 30 seconds. You know, like
Yeah.
um
And today we're gonna do,
yeah.
like whatever they like spiel.
Yeah. So like and like I hate that whole game of like thumbnails and stuff. Um and I try not to do the cheesiest, most cringiest kind of
Over the top
stuff.
exaggeration,
Yeah,
like
and you do
faces.
see a ton of that, like but you do have to play that game a little bit, and I try to walk that balance between like being authentic to who I am, like my personality, and just not being over the top with it, but it does have to be pop. It does have to like pop and actually get you to actually click, you know.
Yeah.
And then just trying to put a lot more effort into like I don't really write scripts for videos. I still just sort of like talk off the cuff, but I do sort of script out like the first three or four sentences of the video to just make sure that like I really have a tight opening that will get you to stay at least for now, and try to convince you to stay through the rest of the video, you know. That's
Yeah.
that's my that's my approach right now. I'm still iterating on it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like the toughest thing is like figuring out the story that you're trying to tell and
Hmm.
then the value that you're trying to deliver within that story, right? And then condense it
Yeah.
down to that one tagline or that two sentences that just kind of hooks them.
Yeah, and like the other thing that I think about is like a lot of my stuff is it's better when I'm actually showing a product or showing some code or showing my design on a certain thing because then I can like sort of flip back and forth between my camera and my screen and I'm changing screens, I'm changing to my code editor, I'm showing this and so there's a lot of like action.
Hmm.
But then like maybe one in every 3 or 4 videos, I'll do one where it's more of a thought based thing,
A
like
talking head.
just talking head, like where I'm maybe talking about a like a business strategy or something where I just don't have anything to show. Um, and I'm right now I'm thinking about like how can I do videos like that and still make it engaging and not make it just me on the camera. Like maybe I got to do some B-roll and stuff like that. But um, so just it's that's like being a content creator, producer
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like um,
Well, I mean, it's kind of it's basically your one of your marketing strategies, right? Is to do this
yeah.
kind of like organic video content that will hopefully drive people to instrumental
Mhm.
components or instrumental.dev.
Yeah. And I like it as a like if I'm gonna do any sort of marketing, like yes, I'll do the bare minimum in terms of like making my website optimal. And I did put up a few pages that should be like SEO optimized, but I do think that the SEO game in general is put it up there, hope for the best. Like definitely the days of just like publishing like blog posts every week, like that's not really gonna work very well anymore. Advertising is just way too expensive, especially for a bootstrapped business. So I like the idea of like if I can just really lean in and go all in on the idea of like being a creator on YouTube, um, that seems to fit me and my strengths. Not that I'm very good at YouTube, at least not yet, but like I like to create stuff.
Yeah.
I like to write too, and uh, and share ideas. So if that's what it means to be a marketer in 2025 for a bootstrapped software product business, like I could do YouTube. Like that seems like a good thing to put my effort and resources into. Because I feel like most other marketing stuff to me tends to feel like bullshit or just a crapshoot that like who knows if this is going to work like built on hope. um,
Yeah.
Whereas like with YouTube, what I like about it is that like the YouTube algorithm is so good that like it actually does reward quality creativity. Like it's not easy. It takes a lot of work and it can be very tiring to do video, but like if you put that effort in, like you should be rewarded over time. And like even though I don't have high numbers, like I still managed to build a list of 800 people interested in to buy this product, just from like
Primarily off of just those videos, which is
yeah,
great.
yeah. That's my thinking on it. I like I might be wrong about this, but like I feel like that's where the bet is. And these days, like really, I think like video, like yeah, I do podcasting and I'll do some tweets and stuff, but like that's just more like me being out there talking to friends. That's not really going to grow my business very very much. It did maybe a few years ago for me, but like now, I feel like video is where it's at.
Yeah. I mean, I think also it's just like whatever feels good, you know, if it's something that you can create consistently and you feel good about it.
Yeah.
Now, granted, it helps to get the feedback of the views and the likes and stuff just to
Mhm.
kind of keep that going. But if it's also the path of least resistance, then follow it,
Yeah.
you know? And then at the same time, is there ways that you can essentially compound the returns on that effort? So, like, I mean, I haven't been doing it much. I'm curious if you've been exploring it, but have you been doing anything like shorts or reels or been trying to repurpose that content on
Yeah, I
other
did.
platforms?
So earlier in the year, I had a video editor that I was working with, which was really nice because I would just do the recording and then drop it in Dropbox, and then he would do all the editing, get it up on YouTube, and he was, repurposing it into shorts. So on my channel, like I do have a bunch of shorts kind of clipped from my long form videos, I have no idea if those even helped or not. I guess they show that they got some views, but like I haven't. So he had to leave to take a job. So in the last like 2 months, it's just been me doing my own editing. So I sort of stopped doing any shorts. Um, I occasionally I'll do a very short thing just to put it up on like Twitter or Blue Sky, more like build in public, like show my work on something,
Yeah.
but like not actual. I haven't posted anything to TikTok or Reels, I don't think. But my YouTube channel has some shorts on it. Maybe I'll experiment with it again in the future, but for right now, doing it solo, I'm sort of just focused on the long form stuff, you know.
Yeah. No, I
But
mean,
I was able to repurpose just the last couple of videos. I did two last week and one this week. And those are also being used on instrumental.dev as my main demo videos.
mhm.
Um, so it's, that's like the effort is going in both places. Like I didn't have to create a separate demo video for the product. Like I just used my YouTube video that I used that I made the other day, you know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because I mean, you've also been publishing newsletters, and I think that even those might even be a thing if you had a space on your site where you're talking about the development and talking about maybe like
Yeah.
a podcast that you're on or whatever. It's like you're already writing that. If it was just published on the website as well, now you're kind of like just kind of like again, kind of like single point of effort, but spreading and duplicating
Hmm.
the potential and the surface area of
Yeah.
people stumbling across it. So that's kind of where my head's been going is like, how do I optimize the effort and then just keep like syndicating it to
Hmm.
where it can just cover more surface area?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I also think that like for solo people and like bootstrappers, I feel like today more than ever, the personal brand matters so much more for, or if you want to call them indie hackers, like whatever we are,
Yeah. Solo
like,
builders or whatever. I don't
yeah,
know.
like, because I used to like, in the last 10, 15 years, I did build and bootstrap and then sold and exited from a few businesses. Um, and I think going through that process, it really made me think a lot about like when I build a business, I'm building an asset that someday can be packaged up and sold to someone else, and I can be completely removed. And the business is a product in itself that can then be sold to someone else, right?
Yeah.
So like, in the years when I was like building audience apps, I really tried to build it in a way where like my face is not on it. Um, Even though I was on it to a certain extent, like
Totally.
it it really didn't depend on me. The operations didn't depend on me. The managers, the team, the delivery, the sales. Like I removed myself from all that. And so that became really important to me to like build businesses in that way. But I feel like now, uh, at least for me, but I think in general, like it's like the pendulum swings back to like the solo creator. Like I'm putting myself into my products much more than I used to. Um, Clarity Flow, I think a little bit differently. Like Clarity Flow feels more like a product in a box that could be sold someday. I'm not selling it right now, but like um, I am somewhat removed from that. And then instrumental components is more like hey, like I'm the creator of this thing. If you're down with my style of building apps, like then this is my product that I made for that. Um,
Totally.
so I don't know. Yeah, it does feel good to build things in that way at this stage. You know.
Yeah. Have you been finding, have you been like exploring other communities where Ruby developers are hanging around and talking out?
Um, Not really. I mean, I'm somewhat connected to some, but also pretty disconnected from Rails. I thought about maybe going out to some of these Ruby or Rails conferences, but I'm not yet. Like I don't know like how honestly like how much effort I want to put into this product beyond what I'm already doing with like
Hmm.
YouTube videos and just putting it out there and letting some customers really like it. Cause like um I don't know how big Rails is in general anymore. It's not as big as it used to be. It's still plenty big. It's still super mature, and there's still thousands of Ruby and Rails developers in the world. But it's clearly not where most of the energy in software development is today. What has me more excited right now is like building with AI, and
Hmm.
I hate the term vibe coding, but that seems to be catching on a bit. And so like if I'm thinking about like really what's next and where I'm going to start to invest more effort and more content on YouTube and things like that, it's like not just how to build with Rails. I'll continue to focus on that, but also like how to build with Rails with AI, whether it's using
Mm.
Cursor, um, or like uh I'm thinking a lot more about like how like maybe getting into more training um and helping people learn how to code or learn just enough basic programming skills so that they can transition from totally hacking your way through being like a vibe coder and knowing nothing about the code that it's spitting out to knowing enough to be able to actually architect like a quote unquote real app.
Yeah.
And but like today, you don't even really need to know how to write programming syntax. Like you don't have to be a programmer. You just need to think in systems and know some basic general concepts and structures on how things are architected, and then learning how to actually work with AI and like some like even my own technique of using cursor and the process of like prompting and helping it troubleshoot and fix issues and re-architect things and like approaching a prompt in a different way. Like these are totally new skills that I think we're all sort of like learning
Yeah,
on the
totally.
job right now. So I think that there's a that's what I'm really excited about right now is like, or at least I'm just giving a lot of thought. I don't know how this is going to turn into a business or a product. It'll probably be in the training realm, but like I think that there's a whole wave of of like need and opportunity to get up to speed on how to use AI to build stuff, you know. Um,
Hmm.
and I think there's different levels of that. There's like existing developers, like full stack developers who just haven't spent the time to start to leverage tools like Cursor in the best ways that they could be, because they're just more comfortable programming. And then there's totally like people who don't know how to code, but they want to build apps, but it literally doesn't make sense for them to go through like a coding boot camp
Yeah.
anymore. Like it just wouldn't make sense to do that now that AI is here. So how are those people going to learn how to build stuff? I just feel like there's a lot to learn and there's a lot to teach, and that's where my head is at the moment. In terms of like my next. See, like I'm launching a product right now, and I'm already thinking about like
All
what's
right,
the
into the
next one.
next one.
It's kind of
Well,
ridiculous,
you know what?
but
I mean, I kind of feel like that's where I am with starter packs. It's like
yeah.
it has a subscription up there, it has traffic going to it, it has some basic utility. Um, it doesn't have my full excitement. And at the same time, I feel like I can see the potential that it has, and it doesn't have enough to necessarily justify the effort to apply
Hmm.
to it right now. That doesn't mean I won't ping pong back to it if it starts getting more traffic and I
Yeah.
can then kind of like invest the time based off of like demand.
Why doesn't
Um,
it excite you? Because like, or why are you working on it? And I'll just guess is that like you built this thing and it actually has some traction with all this traffic coming through. So maybe you feel like obligated to do something with that traffic,
a little
or
bit, yeah.
what are you like? What are your main goals with all of this? Everything you're working on?
I mean, it is independence, but I'm obviously not quite focused on the money right now.
Mhm.
If anything, I feel like these are all attempts at figuring out kind of like distribution.
Hmm.
And then I think once I have distribution, then I can probably focus on trying to get some sort of like extract some sort of living off of that,
Hmm.
you know?
I mean,
Um,
you probably already have uh, a lot more traffic to your uh, starter pack site than like any of my sites have. Like, I don't have much traffic at all, you know? So like just based on the traffic that you do have, do you have like a mechanism to like learn from those people or talk to them or get feedback from
yeah,
them?
that's the thing. I need to figure out who they are.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't really have a mechanism other than once they connect their account, I can essentially see who's connected
Hmm.
and then go check out their profile and maybe get like an idea who they are.
I for
Um,
that kind of stuff, I like to insert surveys, even if it's like a one question survey or a two question survey, but put it right in the onboarding flow.
yeah,
So like how does starter packs work? Like you sign up and then like you connect your profile and then you can like see some interesting insights. I would do something like you sign up and then before you move on to the insights, just here's a preliminary page, just quick. Who are you and what are you trying to what's your main goal with using starter packs today? Or what made you sign up today?
that's a
Free
good idea.
form, free form, let's let them type in whatever they want. Even make it optional if you want. But just collect that stuff over time. And by putting it up front in the onboarding, you sort of force everyone through it. And
Mhm.
just and with your volume of traffic, even just a couple of weeks of that, you can start to get a lot of responses. You know?
Yeah. Although with all the traffic, there aren't that many people connecting. So that's kind of where it's like, who are coming? How are they coming to this site?
Mm-hmm.
Um, why are they potentially bouncing? Because I mean, essentially, every profile that you see has a follow button, which is essentially a call to action to connect. And then on the profile, I kind of have it to where it's like a little mysterious where starter packs that they're in with a button that says connect to see, and it shows the number. So like there's like a little bit of a hint to try to prompt them to connect because I just want to see how many people I can get to connect and then figure out how to
Oh, so like anyone
upsell
can
them a.
come and like sort of search and find starter packs. Uh,
But in order to like follow all from the site or follow an individual person, they have to connect their Blue Sky profile.
I see. Okay. Could
Yeah.
you do a thing? Maybe this might sort of kill your traffic a little bit, but like you, let's say they're, is it like search based? Like you, like if I'm interested in uh Mets fans, can I find anyone who's interested in the New York Mets and like get those
Yeah.
starter packs, right?
Hmm.
So like if you could return like the first five, but tell me that there's like 87 more.
Oh, and then get them to connect there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kind of truncate the results.
Hmm.
And then if you're authenticated, you get to see all of them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I could do that across the board. You know, it's like anytime you're looking at a profile and it says that they're following 600 people, but you only show the first 25 with
Hmm.
like maybe the rest of them blurred out
Blurred out.
or
Yep.
like a something like that.
Yeah. I mean, it, it might be a drastic change, but at this point, like if you have the volume of traffic and no monetization, then like that could be a good next step, at least as an experiment, just to run for like a month, see what you
Yeah.
learn.
I that's kind of what I look at the site as anyways. It's like testing these CTAs, testing like what gets people to engage or interact. Um, so
Yeah.
that's like basically another reason why I'm maintaining it because it's like a testing ground, not to mention also like an architectural testing ground. It's like,
Another thing that like, it just sort of like makes me think about like the idea of doing like what seem like drastic experiments and it's something I just got more comfortable with doing just in the past year. I found that like before I would just I would just have these like sites or products up in the world, and like whatever decisions I made in the very beginning, I tended to stick with for the whole
Hmm.
life of the thing and maybe tweak things around the edges, but like not do drastic changes. With Clarity Flow, a person reached out. I did a little bit of a coaching thing with them, and they sort of pushed me to do a pretty drastic change about a year ago, which was kill the free trial. You know,
Hmm.
like when I started Clarity Flow, it started as zip message. It always had a 14-day free trial. You know, and even that, like it didn't. I don't think I was requiring the credit card. Like it was. I was like, if I'm doing a SaaS, the SaaS, like most SaaS have free trials, so I'm going to do a free trial. You
Yeah.
know, and and even pricing I didn't change for many years. And then like last year, like how about you just try not having a free trial? Customers have to come, and if they want to use it, they pay on day one, you know, and you can offer
Hmm.
a 60-day money back guarantee. And I made that change, and exactly the same number of people still signed up,
Yeah.
you know, with no free trial. And surprisingly few actually asked for a refund, you know.
Yeah.
Um, And like so today, like Clarity Flow does not have a free trial. And like I never would have guessed that like I would have stuck with that decision. But like to my surprise, it actually helped the MRR grow a little bit.
Yeah.
Just
Because
from that.
basically anyone who would have been kicking the tires
Mhm.
now just has to pony up. And they
Yeah,
probably would have anyways, but they didn't weren't forced to.
exactly.
So
Exactly. It makes them more serious about signing up. Yeah.
mhm.
I mean the other one that I switched on Clarity Flow a couple months ago was well, I've changed the price a few times. Like back in the early days, it was like way too low. So I raised it like by a lot. And then I just recently I lowered it again. Um, but but like to like a middle
Or
ground.
like yeah, like a mid-tier, yeah.
Um, like so we have three plans, and I lowered the price on all three plans by let's say 20% or so. Um, but still stuck with like the no free trial. And then that had an effect. That actually had a positive effect in that, like, by lowering the price, the average account price went
Went
up.
up because they're picking the middle plan instead of the lower plan or
More
something.
people. So lowering the price, we made the lowest price even a little bit more limited in terms of what they get. So that pushes more people into the middle plan.
Hmm.
And and then same thing on the upper plan. Like before, we were getting like nobody on the highest plan, and now some people actually do upgrade to the highest plan. So like the ARPU, or like the average revenue per account, um, went up by a significant amount just by lowering the overall bar. You know,
Nice.
been interesting.
Do you feel like
Like
there's anything you can do to kind of like juice Clarity Flow subscriptions or the signups?
that's been the toughest thing. I mean, we actually for a while we were doing fairly well with SEO, and then that got really competitive with other competing products, but then also SEO in general, like Google search in general, is reducing because of the AI results and all the sponsored posts and things like that. Um, so we still get a lot of SEO and a lot of word of mouth from customers, but the business hasn't grown enough for me to be like all in on it. That's why I do these other things. And so I, I'm like 5 years into that business now. So like, I'm not giving it a lot of investment of dollars and time and effort. If I was, then I would be doing more things like going out to conferences and maybe doing more like influencer relationships with, I found that the coaching market is difficult to, it can be great in some ways. But then you do get a mix of like coaches who do really well and then coaches who are just way more aspirational. And that can be hard to navigate. So that all
I mean,
has
it's
an
kind of
impact.
interesting now that you're getting more into YouTube, there's a big, obviously, coaching presence on YouTube.
Yeah.
You could potentially maybe even make some videos of like how to optimize their coaching practice and streamline some of that kind of stuff. But
I could, but I think another learning for me is that like I'm not really a coach. I've dabbled in
yeah,
coaching a little bit here and there, but like I'm not a full-time coach. And I found that it is hard for me to put my personal energy on the marketing for a product in a niche that I'm not really in. Um,
hmm,
I've learned a lot about coaching by from selling to coaches and taking their feature requests and building the product that they want. But like, uh, yeah, for me to like show up and create a YouTube video about coaching every week, the way that I do about product stuff on Rails, like I just don't have the energy to do that. It would be nice if
is
I could
there
like
a
hire a team or a coaching expert to be, but like the business doesn't really have that sort of budget or investment to do that right now, and I'm not trying to build that type of business where I'm just going out and getting all this investment to hire a team and go to the moon with this thing. It's sort of I like the product itself. I like hacking on the product and making our coaching customers happy and making a good product for them. But like I'm more of like the portfolio mindset now. Like that's one, and now I'm sort of focusing on building out other products.
well, what's interesting is you have this product, and obviously these coaches are pretty invested in using and optimizing your product. It'd be interesting if you could reach out to your clients and see if they have any ideas of like a video that they would want to do as far as like how they're optimizing their clarity flow.
Yeah,
And then you use that for marketing.
yeah.
They also use that to get their name out to their own, just like expand their surface area stuff. And then
We've
you
done
kind of
some
have
of
this like
that.
reciprocal relationship.
Yeah, we do have some like case studies, and a couple of years ago, me and my customer success person did some interviews with our customers, and we did those. And some of them are on video, and I would like to do more of those. That is a really good idea, especially like because some of these coaches that do use Clarity Flow, like they kill it. Like
Yeah,
they've
they could
got
probably go all in.
yeah, and some of them like do like some of them have incredible businesses. And coaching is so much bigger than I ever thought it was. Like when I pivoted into the coaching space, I was sort of only aware of like business coaches and like sales coaches and stuff.
Mhm.
But like there's thousands of like life coaches, there's like music coaches, there's parenting coaches, there's like health and nutrition, there's like we had one that was like a pet training coach, you know,
Oh,
like
wow.
like they're just coaches for everything. Kind of
Yeah. I
incredible.
mean, I've even heard of people getting coaches for video games.
Yeah, I have heard of that. Yeah, it's crazy.
It's wild.
Yep.
Um, no, yeah, it's interesting to think about like how you can basically repurpose the network that's already kind of uh aggregated around
Mhm.
something and then generate some value out of that, you know.
Yeah.
How many customers do you have for Clarity Flow?
Yeah, I usually don't share
Oh,
that
sorry, that's fine.
publicly. That's all right. It's sort of like a competitive space. I try to keep the numbers,
Yeah.
behind closed doors, but it's it's sustainable. It's relatively small, but it's been around a few years, and we have a solid customer base, and they talk to each other, and we grow a little bit each month, but it's not like a
Well,
rocket ship, and happy with it. You know.
I was gonna say, even if you get 5 out of 100 people who would raise their hand to say they do a video or two, that could be some good content for Clarity Flow,
For sure.
and maybe not a crazy lift.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Um, cool. So yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess you tell me, do you feel like targeting developers has been more challenging or less challenging than the stuff that you've been dealing with, Clarity Flow, and obviously all your
I am,
productized and all
yeah,
that stuff?
I'm a little bit up in the air on it. So far, I like it. I had a tweet yesterday that like, uh, it's true that like the bug reports that
Oh yeah, I
come
think I saw that one.
that come
Yeah,
from developers
so good.
compared to like customers on Clarity Flow who report bugs in Clarity Flow. Like on Clarity Flow, they'll just be like, "It's not working. Help." You know,
You're like, what?
like
Did
what's
it
not working?
not
You know,
load?
are you even a customer? Like what's happening?
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and then like with developer, they'll send me an email like, yeah, this thing is not working. Here's a screenshot of what I'm seeing. Here's exactly the steps on how to reproduce it. And here's like the stack trace on the logs that I'm seeing. And it happens in this case on this browser. Like it just gives me like
nice.
everything I need, you know? So that's been nice.
So support is maybe easier.
Yeah, at least early on. I'm only like a week into actually having a product for developers. I This product will continue to obviously be for the Rails developer space. But as I was saying before, like I think the next stuff, I think I'm probably better suited myself to be more of a teacher for either more beginner developers or people who don't know development at all and
Mhm.
and learn how to build stuff for the first time. Like I haven't done a lot of that before, but I think I have a lot more to offer, more like taking beginners into being more like being able to build stuff. Than like I don't know that I would have a lot to offer like the really experienced full stack developer, since they're probably more well-rounded than I am. Like I am full stack, but like I think that especially with this like AI wave, I think I have a lot to offer more beginner people to sort of get up to speed, you know.
Well, yeah, it's kind of also interesting as like an industry right now. You have a lot of obviously you have AI, and that could be even reducing the number of roles for junior developers to get into companies and find places to learn. You have a very fragmented remote workforce that doesn't really lend to a lot of like conversation and mentorship
Hmm.
within a company
Right.
because just lines of communication are just more fragmented and everyone's way more async.
Yep.
um and so I
It's
do
really
think there
tough
is this
if you're
like
young,
whole
you know.
crop of young developers that just aren't getting the mentorship or guidance or being
Hmm.
presented with like the real world problems that they're going to have to tackle
Yep.
because they're just not getting the opportunities. So
Yep.
I think having that is a big market. It mean it does question like how do you monetize it,
Yeah. I mean, I think that
which
like
is tricky.
training and like paying for training or community or both
Hmm.
is sort of interesting, and that also lends itself that fits pretty well with like a YouTube strategy. So if I were to keep going on YouTube and focus more content on educational content about this kind of stuff, that tends to lead pretty well into like you can join the training and the community. That's sort of where my head is at. I don't know if I'm actually going to go that route, but um, yeah, and like there's also the route of like even not so young people, maybe more like middle of your career or a little bit
Hmm.
older, like your job landscape is changing and you need to make yourself valuable in your company by having like being able to use
To
AI and
embrace the new AI stuff. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And like wrap your head around MCPs and
Hmm.
all the other stuff that are kind of like evolving in this like daily changing space.
Yeah. And even just using cursor too, like so then if I am speaking to actual developers who are already in the game of development, like even myself, just like I'm constantly even changing the way that I'm using cursor. Like I think we're
Mhm.
all sort of like learning at a really rapid pace as these tools, even just the rise of cursor and there's windsurf and stuff. I don't know if you're using these, but like
Yeah, I'm
um
using cursor.
yeah, like I'm at this point, like everyone is using cursor or windsurf, and most people are using cursor, but like I don't remember any one of these tools becoming so prominent so fast. Like
Yeah.
it's just been in the last like 3, 5 months that cursor really blew up, you know?
Well, also the fact that the transition from VS Code to cursor was so
Yeah. That's the other thing
painless.
that's crazy to me that like it's like cursor is built on VS Code. Like, you know, I think it's probably just a matter of time that Microsoft buys Cursor. How do they not at this point, you know?
Yeah, and
Um,
then I guess figure out how to weave in Copilot again. But they already have Copilot. I
yeah,
don't
like I
know. It's
saw this
like,
thing the other day that like VS Code is I think they already have some sort of like agent thing built into it, but it's like, why would you use VS Code and agent when you can just use Cursor? You know?
hmm
Um, it's crazy.
yeah, because I mean, I had GitHub Copilot when I was in VS Code, but the integration of Cursor, um, I don't know. It just seems like it understands more of what I was asking. I was getting like better results out of it,
Yeah.
and it's
And
probably just the models that they were using and the way that they've integrated it, the context
yep.
of the files and stuff.
Yeah, they mix in all the different models. And I think that they hack on the interface a lot faster and better than
hmm
VS Code itself does. Like, and they're
Yeah,
constantly changing it. Like even just every week, like the UI and Cursor sort of changes. It tends to change for the better, but I'm just amazed at how fast that they're shipping, you know.
yeah. And it's actually kind of funny. On this on Sky Lounge, like while I'm thinking about how I want to do the schema and some other stuff, I just actually started vibe coding some stuff to add vibes to the site. So essentially, I was like trying to think about how rooms and sessions are going to work. But then I was like, oh, well, they're going to happen during times of day and it's sky. So like maybe I could have like a cool WebGL shader that
Oh, that is
takes
cool.
the sky gradient, and then I didn't want it to be like totally a linear gradient, so I wanted to figure out some sort of like Perlin noise slash like abstract gradient effect, and then add in um, some like punchy colors, kind of like Aurora Borealis.
Yeah,
And so while I was thinking about the data model, I was over here just kind of like
vibing.
vibing on make this like WebGL shader, and it totally created it. And then I tried to amp it up. I was like, I also want to get like a film grain effect over it, but of course I ended up taking it too far, and it started turning into TV static. But
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you could
um,
like hook into like a weather API and be like, whatever your current weather is in your location, like show like a rainstorm or something like that. Like,
yeah, but
yeah,
that way you can kind of connect with the host. So even if
yeah.
it's like 2 p.m. here, but they're in Europe or something, you join the room and you already kind of know the scene that they're in. So have it be
Hmm.
based off their time zone and stuff. But that
That's
was just
super
a
cool.
fun thing to kind of vibe code and integrate into the product. It it's like how can you kind of make these like remarkable things to add to it? And so I think by using AI to take the lift to add these little nuances, you can kind of just up the level of your apps and products.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man,
Well,
we've been going for a bit.
yeah, I gotta get off and get some lunch here. So,
Yeah, definitely. Well,
thanks
cool.
for
Well,
the invite. This is always fun to catch up with you. And
yeah, I guess if
I-
anyone has questions for Brian, better drop them now because we're gonna be wrapping up.
I'm
Uh,
on Blue Sky and I'm on X. I'm not quitting either one of them. So,
yeah. Um,
yeah, keep
yeah, no,
building your
but
stuff.
congrats on
It's
the
been cool
launch of
to
instrumental components. So
thank you.
everyone go to instrumental.dev, especially if you're a Rails developer.
Yeah,
And
thanks, man. And I'm excited to see where you go with all your products. Good stuff.
thanks. Yeah, and maybe I'll actually start making some money here soon.
Hey, you're doing great. That's awesome, Ryan.
All right, man. Have a great one.
All right, have a good one.
Later.